Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of our podcast, Empowering People, Enabling Business. I'm your host, Red, the color of Angry Man Red, and more on ESG and the field of sustainability. Today, we're diving deeper into how businesses can turn their framework around. Stay tuned to our podcast, Empowering People, Enabling Business. Taking us further into the ESG journey, we have here with us the Executive Director of the ESG Business Institute. Please welcome Presley Tan. Hey, Presley.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Ray. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's a pleasure to have you. How are you doing, Presley?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so tell us more about you, Presley. So what do you do here? What's your work? Maybe you have favorite movies.
All right. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Presley Tan. I'm the Executive Director for ESG Business Institute. As you guys know, ESG is a very big ongoing trend nowadays. If you read papers or if you open up the news, there's always an article out there that talks about ESG. I just want to briefly share what is this ESG and how our institute has been positioned in. So ESG is a short form for environment, social, and governance. It's actually a set of criteria that is used to evaluate a company's impact on society and environment, as well as its corporate governance practice. Having ESG be implemented in companies, one is research has shown that investors actually are more likely to put money in a company because you kind of like have a good set of corporate governance practice. It also helps companies to mitigate risks such as fines, reputation damage, or even operation disruption. You also have a positive impact, which means companies that address the ESG issues indirectly, they are actually driving good, not only for the environment, but also for the society, because you have a more sustainable and responsible business practices. And not only practice, you also have a good ecosystem. Last but not least, people now are more aware that our environment is changing. I remember back in 20 years ago, you could basically walk out in the streets without breaking a sweat because it was probably about 25 to 27 degrees out there. But nowadays, it's like, you can literally feel that the weather has gone up to hitting 30 or even 35 or 40 at times. So companies that really embrace ESG, you kind of like tell people that, hey, we are here to do something for the environment and really hand on the future to the next generation, which kind of like it's a good idea. I would say that people are more proactively accepted. And having said so much from a company perspective, in fact, a lot of jobs nowadays are also influenced by ESG. One is, if you're an active job seeker, you probably see that now there's a lot of green jobs. We'll basically emphasize on environment sustainability, which talks about renewable energy, clean technology, conservation, agriculture, and stuff like that. Companies are really investing in more eco-friendly practices and technologies, start hiring more employees for this. There's also the supply chain and labor practice. Companies are now prioritizing fair wages, safer working environments, and ethical labor practice. And of course, the diversity and inclusion part, it's much more inclusive and, equitable workplace. This kind of extends broader talent pool. And even like recent changes in Hong Kong Stock Exchange, because they just implemented a new rule whereby companies now have to report ESG in their report. And as a result, there's a high demand of consultant for ESG. And any consultant who at that point switch a job, they actually get a 30% increase in their pay salary. So it's really a booming market out there. Now it comes back to the part of who are we and who is ESG Business Institute. Let me briefly give you an overview. The ESG Business Institute is founded because we felt that there was a gap in the market. For the longest period of time, I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of what is B Corp, and the Jinesh team has been doing a lot on B Corp certification and getting companies in. But bringing this company in, we realized there was a gap. The gap is that we have all this senior executive who is green or even B Corp certified. What's next for them?
The truth is, it's also happening in the market itself, whereby a lot of companies wants to embark on sustainability. They took up funding, they took up courses, and they did all the certifications, but what's next for them? Hence, ESG Business Institute, or ESGBI, was founded to actually bridge this gap here. Our purpose is really to design a platform or a membership community to gather people who is interested or wants to learn more about ESG, not only to engage them, but also to grow and develop them in the ESG practices. At this moment, we have more than 300 members span over 30 countries, representing a wide array of industry and business styles. So this is really a unique platform created for individuals to connect, collaborate, and grow in ESG practices. So that's it, really.
Yeah, quite a comprehensive description of ESG and what you do in the ESGBI. So basically, in layman's term, ESG is one way for businesses and companies to operate in a good and responsible manner. So thank you so much for giving that overview, Presley. Now, I want to dive deeper into ESGBI. You said there are about 300 members now. So tell me more about the community members, their backgrounds, and maybe even the activities that you have as well.
Sure. So like I said, at the moment, we have more than 300 global members across 30 different countries, all the way from Brazil to India, to this part of Southeast Asia, Philippines, all the way to Japan, China, Australia. Basically, we're talking about more of a global platform here where members across different regions are able to connect, talk about ESG, and explore opportunities to ESG practices. So typically, this is part of our membership benefit because we are such a global organization. You can actually access to an array of network of professionals or even leaders. One good thing you can see that in our recent events that we did with Patagonia, we've actually invited one of the co-founders, Vincent Stanley, and he actually shared about 50 years into running a sustainability business and what is really happening on the background, and how he actually planned what's to do for the next 15 years or so. So it's really interesting because these are stuff that you would never hear out in the market, and you will not get all this. Another benefit, I would call it knowledge sharing, because this is really more of a vibrant community that we build. We always believe sharing is caring. ESG Business Institute, we design it as a hub for sharing insight, best practices, and latest trends in business sustainability and corporate responsibility. This really helps businesses to explore, because sometimes being in a business, sometimes you get too engrossed in running it that you didn't realize there's actually so much different ideas ongoing out in the market. Okay. And of course, we also try to ensure that there is collaborative opportunities, there is projects, initiatives, ventures that our community can actually get together to drive positive changes in the world. Most importantly, is personal growth. I would say that we really want each individual of our members to develop personally and professionally. We have workshops, educational resources. This will enhance their ESG and leadership skills. It's really to stay in the forefront for industry development. And since we are in the ESG Business Institute, we've been talking about that. This is a whole big community that really drive social engagement and response. We really want to get them together to make meaningful impact on pressing social issues and to contribute to a more sustainable and equitable future. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think ESGBI is like less than 2 years old. How old is ESGBI right now?
Yeah, definitely less than 2 years old.
Less than 2 years old. So it's a fairly new platform. It's a fairly new community. So what are the challenges in getting people, businesses engaged in ESGBI?
Challenges, I said that, most of the new members who join us to get involved. Like all educational program, Like, for example, I remember back in the days when we go to college, if you're new to college, you probably say, oh yeah, if I register myself, I go to school. But, there's zero engagement because I have no idea who is beside me. I don't know who are my fellow colleagues or fellow classmates. It's the same for ESGBI. I guess it's, how we actually build a vibrant community is really want us to encourage members to not only join us in events, but we also let them get involved, give this kind of opportunity for them to get involved with members in debates and introducing what is a company about and how it actually is social impact. There's just so many ways.
The focus is really to build a community. It's more like a one-stop center where people can come in to not only learn, but to network and grow in their knowledge in ESG. So I would say that our focus is really on to design more of a lifelong journey for an individual on how it could be someone who is new to ESG, get the fundamentals and understand what is sustainability, and eventually build his career over it to a senior professional stage. So we don't want it to be a one-way communication because we realize that a lot of membership association out there, it's, oh, today I sign up for a membership association, I'm a member, I wait for event, I attend, I go rah-rah for 2 hours, eat my dinner, and I come back home. That's it. And then probably the next one I attended is the next half a year or the next year. But there's no engagement, there's no learning, there's no takeaway, there's no growth. So we really want to diverge away from that traditional membership model. We wanted something more engaging, something that would enrich not only themselves, but also help to actually drive sustainable change or sustainable growth to their company.
That's great. You mentioned events earlier, so maybe you can share with us some of these events and engagement activities.
Sure, why not? So we did quite a number of events this year. One is we run one event with a lady called Anush, based in Hong Kong, who started a sustainable business when she was still studying in college. So what her business does, actually, she collect waste bags and then turn it into beer, and she built a business out of it. We have another company based in Indonesia. It's like they were sharing that how they managed to turn mushroom and make it into leather. And then, of course, one of our flagship events is Patagonian, where Vincent Stanley shared his insight. And we have another upcoming event. We're going to get a company called EcoMeasure to come and talk about how they build and scale a sustainable business. If you stay with us to the end of the session, we will also tree planted in your name. And you can actually keep track using technology.
So there is a lot to learn and a lot to engage in, basically, in terms of activities within ESGBI. So, wow, incredible. And I mean, there is, of course, the learning, the network. And what else is it that the members get out of the ESGBI other than those?
At the moment, I would say that in terms of functionality, we are only running at 50% capacity, which means that we have another 50% functions that's not released yet. So at this stage, apart from the tailor-made learning programs, which the members are entitled to take up and pick up, and attending events and engaging with our board of directors on ESG matters, what we are really working towards now, and as we are speaking, our fantastic IT team is really hard at work trying to get this function out for us, is we're going to set up a network group whereby business and companies or even vendors who join us will be able to promote their business within a marketplace setting. It could be both way, or it could be, it depends on what angle we are looking at. For example, if I'm a vendor, I could be promoting in the network called Doing Business Globally, saying that, hey, I'm a telco company here. We have this solution that does sustainability report. If you're interested, reach out to me. Another way could be a business owner and say that, hey, I'm going to start up a new setup in Dubai, and we're looking at $2 million fundings to do sustainable solar panel kind of setting. If any one of you or vendors who does that and is interested to collaborate, there you go. So it's not only for business, but it could be, someone's posting something like, for example, you're a manager or a sustainable executive in a company saying that, hey, you know what, we wanted a consultant that does all this carbon emission calculation for us. Is there anyone who can help us on that? So it goes both ways, from the top level to the bottom level. And also we have another interesting segment coming out, which is actually called the VC's Corner. VC's Corner is where we are also in talks with all the different B Corp certified venture capitalists, or VC in short. We're getting them in to do more like a Shark Tank kind of concept, whereby they will be not only sharing what they invested or what they have, what kind of interesting projects that they have actually taken up. For example, like we do have a B Corp company in Australia. Recently, they just invested in a battery company to boost up electric car sales. Yes, so they want to set up a factory in Philippines itself. So these are the things that people who has concept, who has ideas, this is the network that they should join and network with this group of venture capitalists. They have the funding and they are interested to put in projects. And one of the common challenges we heard from VCs is that they can't find projects to invest. And that's very sad coming from an Asia perspective. Yeah.
Unable to find projects that they like, or wow, that's actually okay.
Yeah, in fact, it's actually quite shocking to hear that. In fact, I've attended a couple of VCs pitching before, and all it is when you have a chat with all these venture capitalists is that, well, there's not enough projects here in Asia as compared to the US and the Europe region.
So it's just surprising. I would have thought that, if you're a venture capitalist looking for projects, you would actually, at least in my perspective, I would have thought that they'd be a little overwhelmed with choices, I guess, because of, opportunities and people needing that help. Like, yeah.
I mean, I totally understand from you, but end of the day, it really depends on the venture capitalist. Every VC is different, I would say. But end of the day, they felt that there's just not enough sustainable projects here. They're just trying to look for it. And we want to bridge that gap. And eventually, our long-term goal is once we get that started and the community is getting vibrant on that, we're also looking and considering to do a Shark Tank once a year. So we're just getting people from within our members and outside to actually do a pitching to this panel of venture capitalists and really try to push and promote the growth of sustainable projects here in this part of the world.
That's actually incredible. That's the Shark Tank thing is quite intriguing. I'm actually looking forward to see that form up.
Exactly. There's a lot of other projects that we are still exploring. Like we're also talking to a sustainable food company. I won't share the exact details yet because we're still currently negotiating with them. So in short, is that company does alternative food. So what I mean by alternative food, it means that actually they grind dry up insects into protein powders and make it into real food for us. So we're also trying to see if there is an opportunity to work with them to start up a master chef to design really appealing sustainable food so that we can take away the stigma away knowing that this is made up from some sort of insect.
No, that would be so cool though, like to kind of like disprove all the stigma, right? Like in terms of your membership, do you often get a lot of members from the younger side, or is it like scattered basically?
I would say that we are pretty scattered. We do have one portion whereby there's a lot of younger age group where they're interested to know more about sustainability, what is this. And then we have another group of business owners who's really into the business and looking on how to build a business in sustainability and how to handle and tackle all these changes across the different regions.
You get the newbies that are interested and you get the pros that have the experience. So that's very well-balanced membership. And speaking of membership, in terms of this community that you're trying to build, is there a benchmark in terms of their size, where they're located, their business model? What is your membership criteria?
Okay, cool. In terms of membership criteria, we know that ESG is still considered a gray industry. It's a very new startup industry. We don't want to put a very hard stop as in anyone who has interest or just graduated with a degree in ESG related field, they could always join us as an associate or affiliate. And then people with more experience, we will upgrade them to a more professional level. The difference in the different level of membership is, for example, for the more professional level, when we organize physical events, sometimes probably we have about 10 slots of private one-to-one dinner sessions with probably like, for example, a famous speaker in ESG area. And then we will offer it to this group of professional members, when you're at that tier, we will offer it. So you can actually have this private one-to-one talk to really deep dive and learn from the person or the speaker themselves.
I see. And this tiering is determined by you, or who in the team determines this? And how do you determine the tiering here?
Okay, so we have already structured the tiering on our membership site. So if you refer to becoming a member, we have indicated what is the criteria. For example, if you're just someone who is interested in ESG, but you never stepped into it, we highly encourage you to join us as an affiliate. But whereas from someone who is already working in the ESG field or graduate from maybe an environment science degree or something related to ESG, we would then highly encourage them to apply as an associate. Of course, the level of benefit would vary slightly different. Yes, so feel free to surf our ESG website to find out more information about that.
Well, cool. I see. And because right now, like my past experiences in terms of the membership work that I've done raise and I'm doing B Lab right now. In terms of the membership, it's all on an organizational level, on a company level. But ESGBI is on an individual level, or is there also like a company level to it?
Okay, so ESG PI, I would say that we focus on individual. We don't focus on company. Because at the end of the day, what we are trying to drive here is actually individuals. We really want to develop their knowledge, their skill, and at the end of the day, it's let this individual bring back their skill set and add value back to their company. So our focus has always been on individual and never on company.
Okay. And I'm sure ESGPI has courses and resources. So like, what would you recommend if I, for instance, am interested in membership, or I just started a membership? Any recommendations as to what courses or resources can be like beginner friendly?
Oh yes, in fact we did. For all members, what we usually do is that we actually send them an FAQ. One of the courses that we highly recommend people to take up it's the fundamental of ESG. Reason simply because it's a good course to take up when you want to learn what is ESG, give you a broad overview, and it's also a good refresher course. The next thing we encourage people to take up is ESG tools and application, because after understanding the fundamental, the next thing you want to really know, and pretty sure if you are into sustainability, you will always see the papers flooding with lingos, ISSB, B Corp, GRI.
Yeah.
Things like that. And in fact, if you try to Google and try to find out more information, most of the feedback I receive is they usually get more confused.
Yeah.
After reading off the net. So ESG tools and application is really more broad and a general summarize of what is all these tools, what's the difference between them, and how can they be used. So we usually highly encourage people to take up these two courses.
Yeah, I think I felt that to my core when you said when people go on a Google search about certain jargon related to ESG, they get more confused, because basically that was what happened to me. There's so many things to understand when it comes to the ESG space. So yeah.
Exactly. And in fact, our organization, we don't focus on one aspect. One by one aspect is, as the name suggests, ESG is environment, social, and governance. We don't focus on a particular industry. We don't focus on a particular topic, but our organization is trying to cover every aspect of ESG. And in fact, if you talk to people in ESG, you will realize there is the finance sector, there is the climate issue, there is the carbon emission, and then there is the biodiversity, where we are talking about how to save animals' life in the environment and what's kind of social impact. And then on the another aspect, you have even sports are coming out with sports ESG. Yes, and apart from carbon credits, there is biodiversity credits. There's also plastic credits, whereby if you use less plastic, companies will be given a certain credit where they can offset from their business. As we speak, every 2 weeks, you will realize that there's something new popping up in ESG, and we're just trying to catch up with the speed.
Yeah, actually, I do feel that working as a verification analyst, there's like an update every week almost. Okay, we have changed certain disclosures here. We have changed certain certification that we can look for is this one instead of this one because this one is outdated. So there is always an update to making things better, tailoring things a lot more accurately to certain industries. And now I'm hearing of biodiversity credits, as you mentioned. This is the first time I'm hearing it, and I'm here in the ESG space as well.
Yes, I mean, in fact, biodiversity credit, the first country who embrace it is, if I'm not mistaken, is Norway. Australia also has it. So there's a lot more. It's like what you share as an analyst. The kind of changes if the company that you're trying to audit has a presence in the Europe or the US region. Or those are the regions that is so active that you have really got to keep up with what are the changes or what is their laws in ESG. Do you calculate this or do you not calculate that? There's really too much information that is changing as we speak.
Mm-hmm. And is it fair to say that the ESGBI is actually able to filter out this type of information in terms of, okay, what do you actually need to know instead of getting bombarded with so much information that you might actually not need anymore?
We are actually trying to filter out all the necessary changes. Well, apart from updating the latest news that's going on in different parts of the world, we also want to keep our members abreast of changes in terms of all the different frameworks available in the market. Or is there like an ESG indexes where they have actually been taken down and so that you need to be aware of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things like this. So we are working hard here trying to keep abreast, ensure that everyone is keep up to date with all these changes.
From what I can see, though, because I don't know much about ESGBI, prior to our talk, now you're giving like a very high level view of what ESGBI. I think it's quite a very holistic type of process that you're doing. So yeah, this is really great. And if I am a pro, let's say, what's like your go-to recommendation for me? If I'm somebody who has enough experience, what would be your go-to recommendation in terms of resources? Or even if our members encourage us all to be educators inside ESGBI?
Yes, if you are probably 10 or 10 years into ESG, one is we will highly encourage you to actually network with some of our more esteemed members, like one of our board members, Christopher Marquez, is a Harvard professor and has been 10 years doing ESG practices. And so he actually volunteered as one of our resources that is happy to answer any questions or even debate in the community. So imagine that you have a Harvard professor answering any doubts you have. And this is not something you will get outside for free.
And even the board, the board members themselves are quite engaged with ESGBI activities. That's great.
You are exactly right. In fact, our board members spend a bit of time to create articles, educating people what is the latest trend. And if you have any questions about it, you can always reply in the articles that they posted and ask them any questions. They are there to grow with our members. Yeah, to grow with our members and really to future-proof our businesses with ESG.
Wow, that is awesome. That is so great. And what is an exciting moment that you've had so far in ESGBI in the short time since its conception? I'm pretty sure something exciting has already happened within the platform or the organization.
most exciting moment, I guess it's at this stage is to start seeing the community getting more and more active as we continue to work with different partners. For example, as a matter of fact, we just have a few agreements with a couple of our partners. So there will be a recruitment company coming in where they can help our members to look for sustainability job in the field. Not only the CEO is a members, but these also will be connecting different companies to us to really further grow the company. And of course, we also work alongside with other partners in different countries, which we will be releasing more news and update on this.
Hey, wow. And Presley, we're almost out of time, but I'm going to give you this moment to promote the ESGBI website, courses, events, and how to join as a member.
Fantastic. Appreciate it so much. So if any of you is interested, be it you're in HR, be it in accounting, or even in any sector, sustainability is going to affect and impact every single professional. So just Google ESG Business Institute. Go into becoming a member, click on it, submit your application form, and we'll be more than happy to get you in as a member.
Awesome. I might actually try. You might see my name up there one day.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Presley, for your time today. I learned a lot today, and I'm pretty sure our viewers also learned a lot today. So thank you so much for your company.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rick.
Okay, thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for being part of this episode's journey. We trust you found the content both enlightening and captivating. Don't hesitate to tap that subscribe button, ensuring you're always in the loop whenever we release a new episode. In our next installment, we have a special guest, a remarkable individual who was triumphed over adversity after a life-altering incident. She emerges with an inspiring story of resilience despite her visual impairment. So remember to stay connected and keep those headphones at the ready. This is Red, and we'll see you again in our next episode of Empowering People, Enabling Business.